So what it's saying right there, what Jesus is saying is that that's actual arrogance and pride to think that you just showed up to a world that was already existent and that has nothing to do with your mind. And that's quite apart from what you think by chance, and that the world is independent of that. And then he says, there is no world. This is the central thought that the Course attempts to teach. Not everyone is ready to accept it, and each one must go as far as he can let himself be led along the road to truth. He will return and go still farther, or perhaps step back a while and then return again. But healing is the gift of those who are prepared to learn there is no world and can accept the lesson now. And it goes on and says, really ultimately that there is no world, and it explains this. And what he's saying in the Course is that the world you see is holographic in nature, and that doesn't exist outside of you, and that your mind is actually it's being filtered through your mind from a picture that's projected out on the world, coming from your thoughts. And there's only two teachers or two thought systems to listen to. It's either the ego, what we just spoke about, or the Holy Spirit. Now, there's something very liberating about this if we could truly embrace it. It doesn't mean that there's no meaning in that. What's the point in life? But it does mean that we stop taking the life and the world out there and the fear that comes with it. We just stop operating from that. And that's where the true freedom comes. In any teaching that teaches you how to manipulate the world to get what you want, to make yourself feel better without teaching you that the world itself is illusory, is bound to fail. And it can only fail because it's built on a faulty premise. I have to get to a place where I see the illusion and the illusory nature of the world that I see first. And then what the Course says is that the Holy Spirit can write all the meaning on it, which is we're at a rest stop for a very brief moment while we're on our way to eternity, or really remembering eternity again. And that everything in the world that you see is only a means for coming back to God. When you see the world through that lens, nothing anymore, you don't try to manipulate it anymore, because everything turns out is in our own best interest and everything works together for good in the end. So there's no need to manipulate it, because you're free of it, because you recognize that you dreamt up a world that seems to be separate, but that you were just a dreamer dreaming a dream of a world that you forgot that you're dreaming. And that's where the key freedom comes from. And that's how we find ourselves at peace in this ever changing, appearing to be chaotic world.